Well, it is 4:30, so I will call the meeting to order. I squale siem na sietya, I na squalawan kawana silam nala. We respectfully acknowledge that we are meeting on the traditional and ancestral lands of the Kawatan people, where we live, learn, work, and play. We'll move to adoption of the agenda. Could someone move that motion? Moved by Trustee Thorne, seconded by Trustee DeGroot. All those in favor? Motion carries. Moving to minutes of the April 6, 2021 open board meeting. A motion to adopt the minutes, please. Moved by Trustee DeGroot, seconded by Trustee Kemmler. All those in favor? Motion carries. Moving through actually the recognition and delegations. There are none this evening. Report of closed board meeting. Mr. Sandquist.
Thank you. The board met in closed session prior to this meeting. There were personnel appointments, capital items, and contractual items discussed.
Thank you. Moving to the old business action list on page 12. Could you put that up for us, please, Mr. Sandquist? I noticed that there are two of these items that are on the board agenda already, the board retreat and the enrollment marketing plan. I just mentioned that the Indigenous Culture event, the superintendent and I can report on that at our June meeting. Is there anything else that staff wish to speak about that's on the action list? Any questions from anyone? Okay, moving to chair of the board. And as you know, on our media channels, they say, oh, prior to those stories, we have some breaking news. Well, I do have some items that may not be breaking, but they're certainly important. So the first is to congratulate Trustee Barb DeGroot on her years of leading literacy in the Cowichan Valley. And so many adult people have been assisted through reading and writing and numeracy activities through Literacy Now. And her retirement of chair of that board, which she performed for many years, has come with a grant, not to her, but to honor community service. Her community service and educational legacy has been created for people to apply for. So first of all, congratulations, Trustee DeGroot, for all your work on Literacy Now Cowichan. The second is just to mention that district scholarships are taking place at secondary school sites next week. I know Trustee DeGroot and I have been involved in some aspect of the scholarships and mentioning if any other trustee is interested to let Barb Cunna know ASAP. The third item is the Cowichan Leadership Group has been invited to hang dresses tomorrow in downtown Duncan as part of Red Dress Day, the National Day of Awareness for Missing and Murdered Indigenous Women and Girls. And tomorrow, Trustee Joe Thorne and I are participating together in the downtown event by hanging a red dress. Fourth item is around COVID-19 vaccines for our staff. And it's important for us to reference our immense relief and joy to know that our staff will be vaccinated apparently within the next 2 weeks. We thank the government, the PHO, and Island Health for recognizing the importance of K-12 staff and the importance of K-12 education. And the last item on my breaking news is around the retirements at BCSTA. We know that our CEO, Mike Roberts, is retiring as of July. And today it was announced that also the Director of Finance and Human Resources, Jody Olstead, will also be retiring at the same time. So I will send cards and a small gift to each on our behalf, unless anyone is concerned about doing that. Okay, so I'll proceed with that. So looking at item 7.1, government to government meeting. So a meeting was arranged for local governments to come together by the municipality of North Cowichan, their Race Relations Committee. Trustees Croft, Kemmler, Thorne, and Spilsbury joined the meeting with chief and councillors of Cowichan tribes, mayor and councillors of North Cowichan, City of Duncan, Town of Lake Cowichan, Town of Ladysmith, as well as the chair and directors of the CVRD. The intent was to increase relationships within the local governments and to increase our collective knowledge of Indigenous peoples. It was a valuable session and likely the group will continue to meet. 7.0, are any questions on that? Okay, item 7.1.2, the Ad Hoc Anti-Racism Committee. The first meeting of this committee will happen on Thursday with a large committee of 25 people, including 8 students from our secondary schools. We have engaged an outstanding facilitator for the meetings. His name is Kevin Lamoureux, and he is well known across Canada for his work around reconciliation. He has been an educational lead for the National Center for Truth and Reconciliation and a scholar in residence for several school divisions. He is a faculty member at the University of Winnipeg and a well-known public speaker. Just in a quick conversation that both superintendent and I have had with him a couple of times, you can feel the depth of knowledge and the kindness and gentleness of his person. So I think he will be a great facilitator, and I think with the amount of response to the committee, I think we will have some really good results. Any questions on that? Oh, I should say we have scheduled the meetings right through to next year, to next May 2022. So it is an action-oriented committee. Item 7.1.3, we're back to the board retreat, finally. And as I was thinking about it, we also need to do a performance review. So I did contact Gordon Lee, the education director for BCSDA, and we shared the knowledge that we had and kind of planned what we think will be important for the board. So the BCSDA has put out 3 learning packages, the rights and responsibilities of boards, government processes for boards, and advocacy for boards. Each is thoughtful and meaningful and comprehensive. And meanwhile, we have in the back of our minds the performance review, which we haven't done since our last term in office. So what we have would like to propose is to meld those 2 interests by completing an individual questionnaire in June on our board performance, which will give us our performance review and tell us which of the learning packages we should follow. And Gordon Lee has agreed to facilitate the process. Do you have any concerns with this plan or any questions about it? Trustee Kemmler and then Trustee Croft.
Will the whole process then be virtual, like on Zoom?
Well, that's the way we are right now. We'll have to see what the fall brings, but the first piece of it would be individually completing a questionnaire, probably on email, and
Okay.
then as he looks at the results and figures out our themes, then perhaps it's like a board meeting to discuss. Trustee Croft?
Sometimes in board retreats, there's I've always found quite a bit of value in some of the time that you're not being facilitated and going by an agenda. Can
Mhm.
we, it's a little bit oxymoron. What do you call it? An oxymoron. Scheduling free time?
Oh. Okay, I take that into
That
consideration.
would be lovely. Just sort of unregulated time just to just converse because I think we're all missing a little bit of that. So that would be lovely. Thanks, Candace.
Okay, thank you. Anything else on that topic? Okay, moving to 7.1.4, Indigenous Knowledge Series, and the BCSDA has published one of the 5, I'm not sure if they're a poster or what it is, but one sheet being prepared by the Indigenous Education Committee. And perhaps Trustee Thorne, would you like to talk about this?
What we've done is we've looked at what's been going on to the province with Indigenous education, and we wanted to get back to a focus point where we're all going in the same direction. So suggestion was we take a step backwards to go forwards, and started looking at all of the paper trails that have been laid out for Indigenous ed over the years with BCSTA and talking about UNDRIP, talking about a variety of different things and things that we can all do in unison. So we created these placards. I think that's what they're called, placard. You just schools for teachers, principals, vice principals to read and get some clarification going. And you notice I did say we're going to take a walk together.
Mhm.
I don't know if that answers your question, but it's as simple as I can.
Absolutely, that's helpful. Could you pronounce the Hulkaminum of walking together for me?
Go back and look at my notes because I had to actually write it down.
Ah,
I got to print it out.
let's walk together. Well, perhaps you could share that
So
later. It looks like perhaps a good placard for the advisory committee as well, Trustee Croft. So we could consider that.
is the pronunciation.
Yeah. Okay, is there any comments or questions on that? Okay, moving to 7.2.1, the Climate Action Ad Hoc Committee. And I guess we all remember that last year the board declared a climate change emergency. And recently our students continue to share with us how they believe this is a top issue for all of us. At our last liaison budget meeting with DSAC, there were only 2 key issues that came from DSAC. One was technology and the other was our environment. Our Mill Bay Nature School students went to the legislature on climate change. Our Guardians students have a group in each secondary school, and the community has formed a group to support them called For Our Kids Cowichan. As you likely remember, they came to our board meeting last year to present, and this year the superintendent and I have met with them once and have a meeting scheduled in June. We know there are many great initiatives happening in our district. Our operations director, Richard Dybel, came to BEBC and went through how many of those initiatives that he's been working on. But we don't have an overall climate change plan. And so I'd like to suggest that we initiate an ad hoc committee, but that because we're nearing the end of the school year and because our staff is just so extremely involved in so many things that we wait until October, but this puts it on the books so that people know we do care about climate change and that we are going to take a coordinated action on it. So is there someone who would move this motion so that we could debate? Moved by Trustee DeGroot, seconded by trustee Croft. Trustee Hutchins?
Why an ad hoc committee and not a standing committee?
You know, it's interesting. I have this vision in my mind about standing committees, that they are ongoing forever. And I'm not sure if we need this committee to go on forever or not. Perhaps you could advise, Trustee Hutchins.
I think this problem is not going to be solved in our lifetime. That might not be forever, but it is forever in our lifetime. So I think to me, an ad hoc committee is usually set up to deal with a temporary problem and find a resolution and move forward and disband it. But I don't think we have any magic in our toolboxes to solve this problem locally or globally. And I think we have to show a commitment to this community and provincial and national and global challenge. So
Thank you. So that's an amendment. Would you move that amendment, Trustee Hutchins?
well, I'd please ask Mr. Sandquist if the standing committee can be established for such a purpose, or should we just be called a committee?
Mr. Sandquist?
The standing committee will be required to be revised in policy 8, so it can be established. We just need to incorporate it within the board's existing policy on standing committees. So the same draft purpose, powers and duties and membership and meetings would then become part of policy 8.
So I'd like to move an amendment that we change the word ad hoc to standing.
Thank you. Moved by Trustee Hutchins, seconded by Trustee Thorne. Is there any conversation on the amendment? Okay, all those in favor of the amendment? Motion carries unanimously. So we're moving back to the main motion now. Is there further conversation on the main motion? So I'll call the question. All those in favor? Motion carries. All right, moving to item 7.2.2, the pride flag. As you know, we have flown the flag in the last number of years in June. And so I bring the motion back that we continue to do that this year. And I'd like to look at the suggested motion there and add a little piece on to the end of it. So it would read that the Board of Education of School District 79 Cowichan Valley requests that the pride flag be flown at the school board office from May 31st, 2021 to the end of June 2021 to symbolize its support of diversity and inclusion, and specifically for those members of our community who identify as LGBTQ2+. Is there a mover for that motion? Moved by Trustee Thorne, seconded by Trustee DeGroot. Any conversation on the motion? Trustee Croft?
I am embarrassed to say, I don't know what the 2+ is.
I'm going to pass that to Trustee Thorne because I'm pretty sure he knows the 2+. Oh,
You're muted.
yeah.
No, I don't know how to put it in simple words, so no, I'll pass on it.
Ah, okay.
That's
So,
okay. I can Google it later if we. I've heard the term. I honestly don't know what it is now.
yes, and I have had it explained to me, but I'm not sure I could articulate it. Any of our staff want to explain to us?
I can certainly attempt if possible. I believe that Q+ stands for queer and two-spirited. And then the plus is with regard to whether somebody is androgynous and or bisexual. And so the plus refers to a number of other affiliations and associations. But I think that I could encourage you, Trustee Croft, to maybe look that up because it's there. But I think that it's just not as handy as we'd all like it to be and should be. Thank you.
Will do. Thank you so much.
Okay, so we have passed this motion, am I right? Mr. Sandquist, or not yet? Not yet?
Not yet.
Got lost. Okay, any further conversation on the motion? All those in favor? Motion carries unanimously. Moving to item 8, Superintendent of Schools.
Thank you very much. I'd like to ask if Claire could bring in Miss Margaret Olson, please. So as Margaret Olson is being brought into our Zoom meeting today, I'd like to introduce Margaret. Margaret does not have her camera on, I can see, but maybe she'll be able to get there. There we go. And Margaret started on April the 15th. She brings in a wealth of knowledge and experience from previous positions in the educational sector. As a matter of fact, I know that she's been a district principal of human resources in the past. We welcome her, and presently right now she's reviewing human resources, and she's had many interviews with many people across Cowichan Valley School District. So welcome to Margaret.
Welcome on behalf of the board, Margaret.
Yeah. Thank you very much. I'm really excited to be here and part of the team. So thank you.
That's great.
Thank you.
Back to you, Superintendent.
All right, I'm going to move on to 8.1.2. I just wanted to inform the board with some personnel updates. Presently, right now, principal and vice principal assignments have been communicated overall to our system. Thank you, Secretary Treasurer, for bringing all of those assignments up. And as you can see, there have been a number of changes. And so all of this information has been communicated to all schools. Last Thursday morning, any school that was impacted and or department was informed of these changes, as well as the fact that it would have went out to all of our system overall with regard to their new principal and or vice principal within their community. So I wish them all a success in their new environments and in their new leadership endeavors. Thank you. Moving on as well around personnel updates, I'd like to congratulate all of the coordinators who have been successful in applying for their positions. And so I'd like to review that the District Coordinator of Indigenous Student Success, we now have Hannah Morales back again. And I know that many of the board members have met Hannah as she presented to BEBC. We also have the District Coordinator of Instruction and Innovation for Elementary, Rich Reddy. Congratulations goes to Karina Fitzner, and she's the District Coordinator of Instruction and Innovation for the secondary level. And then lastly, but not least, Lindy Thompson, District Coordinator of Inclusion Support. And I don't think the board has met her quite yet, but she hopefully will be coming very soon to present at one of our BEBC meetings. So I wish all of them well, and certainly they've been doing an excellent work around leading learning across our school district. And then I'd like to move on to Cowichan Secondary Replacement Update. As everyone's aware, we have 3 proponents who are looking to actually be the successful recipients of building our wonderful replacement of Cowichan Secondary School. We have had 3 collaborative sessions. We're presently in our 3rd. We've had the 2nd day of the 3rd set of sessions, and tomorrow will be our last day. And what we're looking forward to, and I'm sure that the entire community will be looking forward to it, that we will be looking forward to selecting that proponent as soon as August, and hopefully soon enough we'll see something actively happening at our new replacement of Cowichan Secondary site in the fall. So that's an update on our new replacement of the secondary school. And now, one more item, 8.1.4. There's something very exciting happening within our community. And I know that the board had redirected some federal dollars to outdoor classrooms. And so presently right now, we have a number of schools who are embarking on that endeavor. And hopefully we'll have some photos in the very near future. But presently right now, we have 11 schools who will be looking forward to having some kind of an outdoor classroom that will be created just for them. And so we have Alexander Elementary, Chemainus Elementary, Chemainus Secondary, Ecole Cobble Hill, Seavolk, Francis Kelsey, Coheman, Maple Bay, Paulson, and Quamachin. And so it's very, very exciting. And we look forward to their creative ideas in terms of their outdoor classrooms. And so they're presently working fast and furious, trying to make that happen. And for some of you, you might have even seen an advertisement that had gone out around looking for landscapers who can certainly help out some of these school communities. And so we wish them well. And hopefully by June, we'll have some photos that we can share with the board with regard to that endeavor. It's going to be very exciting. And then next on the educational initiatives, presently right now, we are looking toward enacting or activating some summer transition programs. We know that our learners have been, for some of them, have been away from school for a while. And so we'll be looking to partner with some of our nations and looking forward to looking at how can we provide some summer transition activities that will be an opportunity for some of our learners to re-engage with some of their schools. And so we have had some preliminary conversations with Coheman, Alexander, Quamachin, Cowichan, and Chemainus Secondary. So we look forward to sharing with the board in the very near future in terms of how can we actually provide those opportunities for our youngsters as they spend some time in the summer, perhaps on some of our school sites and maybe with some of our school personnel. If there aren't any questions, at this juncture, I'd like to invite in Mike Russell to actually showcase a bit of our marketing plan, and I'm sure that he's ready to go. So he's going to spend a few minutes with you to showcase some of the exciting programs that we have out there for our community. Welcome, Mike.
Hi, Chikarobi. Hi, Squeal, CM Nasiya. Hi, Kwanasi Lamnala. Thank you very much for inviting me in today. If it's okay with you, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. I have a brief presentation, and then I'll show you some of the stuff that we've been doing for our marketing presentation, or for our marketing of our district programs. So you should all see my PowerPoint up there. And all right, so we'll get going. So again, thank you very much for having me in to talk about our wonderful district programs. We have been with these programs now since the start of COVID. Since we started coming back in September, we're looking at creative ways to bring our students back into schools. We know that these exceptional and unique programs are serving learners in the Valley well, and they're going to continue into next year. So right now, I'd like to talk about a couple of the programs. I'm not going to focus on all the programs we have as the district. There's a few key programs that we really initiated this year that I'd like to bring to your attention. So the Inquisitive Design Technology Program. Now the IDT program helps independent and creative learners find solutions to real world problems faced by real people throughout our community. And they do that without having to attend class full time. And that allows our families time to interact with experts in order to create lasting change in our world. The Millbay Nature Clans. Now this program helps families who recognize that growing and learning involves engaging the whole child, create personalized rhythms. This is done without the stress of rigid expectations, so their child can feel confident and safe to be themselves in community. The Distance Learning Virtual Classroom. Now, the DLVC helps learners who seek choice and independence keep pace with their peers without losing connection to a school community. And that means they can safely learn from home without learning alone. Now we're going to talk about 3 options that are offered by the Grove. Now, first is Swallowtail, and you saw a presentation from Swallowtail, Ann Kissinger at BEBC, I believe, last week. So the Swallowtail program helps inquisitive learners connect with the natural world around them while exploring their interests. They get to do this without the structures of a school day, so they can foster a genuine connection between the teachers, children, and the natural world around them. The At Home program. This program helps learners who enjoy flexibility and independence find success through personalized programming without the confines of a school week. This allows learners the flexibility to explore and engage in their community and as a family, while meaningfully taking part in their education. And then finally today, the Blended Distributed Learning Program. Now the Groves Blended Learning Program helps learners who enjoy flexibility and the opportunity to socially interact find success through personalized programming. We do this without the restrictions of a typical school day, so learners can explore and engage in their community while actively taking part in their education. So I guess the question is, why are we marketing then? Well, we know that these programs that we are offering offer exceptional educational experiences to our learners, and we'd like to expand the group of students involved. There are many private schools and other programs out there that are offering programs like this, but not to the depth that we are. And we really want people to realize that public education has a lot more to offer than just bricks and mortar. Now, we also would like to offer flexibility and choice to families and learners who may currently be at another educational institution. And our enrollment has dipped slightly this year. It's projected to be down a few numbers. So we want to ensure that we have options for every family. So what's the plan then? Well, any good plan begins with knowing where you are. And to find that out, we need to start doing some research. So I had to define our target audience. And I did that by analyzing our social media, looking at our web visits and our flow on our website, and already having a bit of idea of who our defined audience is. We are a school district, so we're going to target parents who have school-aged kids. So after the research, I defined our target audience for this marketing campaign as families who have recently left the district for other programs, parents and families within the district boundaries who attend program outside of our offerings, and then parents or families outside of our district boundaries who attend a program outside of our offerings. But more specifically, I wanted to target children of parents between 5 and 12 years old with an interest in technology, nature, homeschooling, blended programs, and educational choice, all who live within about a 40-kilometer radius of the center of our district. So now that we refined the program and who we're going to reach out to, how are we going to reach them? So we do have a robust following on our social media, particularly our Facebook page, and our most active audience members who fit in our target audience are certainly on Facebook. We also have Instagram, Twitter, and our website. I also reached out to some homeschooling influencers to have our information posted on homeschooling Facebook pages throughout the island. So we wanted to make sure that this really went through a multi-channel advertising campaign. So I guess one of the key things to remember about marketing is it's good to push stuff to people, but if you want to bring people in as well, you need to realize that people are going to be searching for different types of schooling options. And where are they going to be looking for that information? Well, typically Google. So our marketing has to push and pull. And that's why part of the plan was a robust keyword search. So I analyzed what keywords our audience used to search us and our competitors and ensured that our marketing stuff that we were putting out allowed us to be found in those searches. I also found through that research that the Cowichan Valley School District page didn't come up a lot during the research, but the Grove page did. And that changed a little bit of the focus of our marketing campaign. So what we need to do now is create a vision for our plan. So we know who we're going to market to, and we know how we're going to try and get things to them and how we're going to get them in. But what do we sell them? We have a vision for our education. So we needed to create that vision. And now I worked as a team with our program leads and distilled those programs down into descriptions of 1 or 2 powerful sentences that would engage our audiences and help them act. And the process was actually really challenging to distill a whole program down to 2 sentences, but it really set the tone for the entire project. And if you listen to the descriptions I gave above about our programs, that's exactly what you heard, was those 2 sentences. So with the vision in hand and the idea of how to get our audience discovered by then, we need to start looking at how do we tell great stories. So thankfully, I went back to Keyword Designs, who we do all our video stuff through, and they helped us create some really compelling video content, a beautiful story for each of our programs that we were able to market out to the rest. So now the program videos with the compelling marketing copy were put up on our social media channels, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And I've initially paid for some Facebook ads for a couple weeks, and that's going to switch to boosted posts coming on Friday. And that's done for a specific reason because they actually reach a little bit of a different market. Now, with the help of our program leads, I also created brochures for each of the programs, which can be found on the websites in the program descriptions. Now, one of the final things I had to do was look at the user experience on our website. If we bring folks and families in for information, we need to ensure that information is up to date, it's relevant, and the web page is easy to navigate and the call to action is clear. So I did an in-depth review of the traffic flow on the website, finding where people come in and where they leave our website, and find out if they were exploring or just leaving. So with the rewrite of the marketing materials, insertion of some attention-grabbing leads, and reinvigorating the pages, which I'll show you in a few minutes, we could make users explore more. I also integrated both the Grove pages and our district page so that you could flow back and forth between the two. If you want to check out district programs or go back to the Grove, you could do that no problem. And then also really making it easy for people to realize what registration was and what that call to action was. So How do we know if we're successful? Well, we have several metrics for this, this plan. So first, we're going to measure our social interactions and see if it was worthwhile spending the money on Facebook ads. The second is we're going to look at our web traffic, see if we've actually increased people to the web page. And then web flow. So where are they going once they get to our web page? Are they exploring, or are they just saying, nah, not for me, I'm not interested? And then most importantly, we're going to look at our program registrations. So here's where we break from this part, the presentation, and I kind of walk you through what's happening on our web pages. So hopefully you can still see this. Everybody still see my page? Excellent, thanks for the nod there, Robin. So if you land on Cowichan Valley School District webpage, you have a very highlighted district programs page right up front. Sign up for a September start and click in through to our district programs. And once you do that, it'll bring us to a rewritten page where all our district programs now live. So we only had a few up to start the year, but now we have them all in here. So we've rewritten all the copy in here to make it compelling and make people want to explore. And then when you actually do go click through to explore, you can find a whole wealth of information, including the videos that we posted, new designs for graphics. So there's our video, there's our graphics, and things like this. So we have Riley, Riley Moore, and he was one of our IDT students. He was actually featured on Czech News. So we took the Czech News article, it's embedded in our marketing copy here on our website, and you can click right through, go to Czech News and watch Riley present his bird feeder solution. Really big calls to action here about registering, some more information, a secondary place to register on here, and then great information from Glenn too. So he's got 2 other videos that we put up on here as well. So each of our web pages that you saw in there, that whole list, the pages are laid out very similar. If you go to the Grove and then into our blended learning and distributed, or blended and distributed learning options, it's set out very similar, but just with the 3 Grove programs, because we don't advertise the other programs on here. But if you don't find something, if you're looking for something different, we have that too. And that's where I'm talking about that integration between our pages flowing back and forth. So you can go from one into the other, no problem. So are we being successful in a couple of our matrix here? Well, we are. So if you look at, these are our websites, or sorry, our Facebook ads that we have. And if you look at the link clicks, these are all our videos that we have running right now. So we're having 210 people click through, 244 people click through. Well, those are direct clicks from Facebook right to our website. So they're going to get the information. And we have about 1,100 click-throughs on all of these. What that shows us is when we take a comparison of sort of the before times, which I'll show you here, this is April 1st to 14th. This is what I'm calling the before times, is about a week before I launched the campaign. We had 127 people come from Facebook into our website, but nobody was going through to here, to programs, which should be listed here. So if you go to the last 2 weeks that we've been running this campaign, we've had over 1,100 Facebook people coming to our webpage, and every one of these links that they're clicking on is from our programs. You can follow that through and look that they actually are going through and checking out all the different types of programs in here. So they're staying on our page for a long time. They're engaged in the content, which is really good. If you want to look at overall, so not just Facebook, we have this. This is before as well, April 1st to 14th. We had 270 visitors to our programs page. So people were coming in, kind of looking. We didn't even have all the programs up here though. So when we look at what we've done in the last 2 weeks, we can see that we've got nearly 10 times the amount of visitors. That's coming from Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. It's coming from people just finding this naturally, coming off of YouTube. And they're sitting here and they're going through this content as well. So we're getting a lot of people to it. So I've talked a lot about content. I've talked a lot. I'm going to show you one of the videos that we have going here. So sit back and take a watch, and then I have another video if you want, or I'm happy to take questions.
Our distance learning virtual classroom is special. It offers community to our children that want to learn from home. We want to offer those options to our learners who want choice, who want independence, and who are self-directed in their learning.
All right, good morning, everybody. Nice to see you today. And so the tree that we're looking at this week is the yellow birch. And we have the snowy owl and the blue flag iris. Has anyone seen a snowy owl before? So the students at the DLVC are learning the same as they would in a regular classroom. They are just in a virtual setting. They're still learning about the core competencies, their curriculum, and they're working on projects. We focus on literacy, numeracy, the arts. It's fantastic. They're getting lots of learning done. It's really important for this program to build a sense of community. Right now, they're at home on their own with their families. So with this connection that we're building through Zoom, they can have a teacher to talk to. They have their peers to talk to. It gives them a sense of belonging. So it's our virtual classroom, our virtual school.
It's very fun and interesting to learn how you can socialize at home and how you get different opportunities to do it on your own. Because our teacher assigned this chat where if you had a question, you can talk to your teacher and she would reply back instantly. Or you could talk to your friends about home life, school, just want to talk randomly, anything like that. There was this app called Teams where there was this assignment category. So you would send all your subjects, take social studies, you would click on that and then there would be instructions on how to do it. And then there would be a PDF where you click on that and you print out the sheets so you can fill them in. If you did online learning, you would get many opportunities. And there would be fun opportunities like exercise videos or art videos or math games, something like that.
We find that the learners that come to the DLVC are independent, self-paced, they're motivated, they like to learn at their own schedule. We have our teachers offering guidance and support as well as descriptive feedback. As a learner, we want to know how we're doing and where we need to go next. Having a whole school learning community allows us to learn from home without learning alone.
All right, that's it for the video. Again, they're all on our website. They're on our YouTube, Facebook. You can check them out anywhere. I guess the final thing to let the board know is that we're having a parent info night with the heads of the departments for the programs, and we're going to invite parents in so they can not only digest this content that we've created, but then have a chance to chat one-on-one with our program leads in hopes of drumming up some more registrations. That is it.
Thank you, Mike. It's an amazing plan and the video is wonderful. I'm sure all of them are great. So I will take some time to look them up. And any questions of Mike or comments? Trustee Croft?
Well, I just wanted to say thank you. I think it's brilliant and well-reasoned and clearly the process to get us to this point or to get your project to this point is just so sound, and I'd like to compliment you on that. And I just would like to say that through work with, Mr. Russell and all of our staff on communications, it seems to have brought us to a point where we have an identity. I think that's a really tricky thing to do for an enormous organization with so many moving parts and complex goals and complex audiences. But I think you have brought us to that point where our identity is quite clear, and I feel quite comfortable within that identity, and that's an enormous accomplishment. So thank you to you and your team for working that way. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Any other comments from trustees? Trustee
Just
Hudson?
accolades all around, exceptional work. Thank you.
And I think you can take that comment on behalf of the whole board, Mike. We really appreciate your work for sure. And this looks very exciting. It will be wonderful to see your final tallies at the end. I'm not sure if that's in June or wherever. And of course, the registrations from students. So it will be wonderful. Superintendent?
I would just like to make a comment before Mike leaves because it would have been part of my superintendent update, but I think that I'd like to make a comment. This might be the new news, but there's some old news that Mike Russell, our communication director, has done. In our BC Inspire magazine for the Superintendents Association, he wrote an article a few months back, and it's called Truth and Reconciliation, and it was put in our Superintendents magazine. And it talks about Cowichan Valley School District and how we're working on the truth and how we're also working on the journey of that, talking about our logo and so on and so forth. So I just want to do a little bit of a shout out to Mike, putting himself out there and putting himself in our Inspire magazine, and want to say Haichka to you, Mike. for the old news, but now that we have new news today. So thank you.
Thank you, Rob.
And congratulations, Mike. Thank you for doing that on our behalf. Wonderful.
Okay, I will move along if that's possible. I'd like to move to 8.1, 8.16, please, and that is with regard to district scholarships. And I want to give the board an update. So I think what I'd like to just share is that there has been more scholarships that are coming our way. So presently, right now, we have been allotted 93 scholarships, which is up from 83 from last year. Each school, of course, is allocated a percentage of the district scholarships, and they're each worth $1,250. It may not look exactly like it has been in the past with regard to participation by our trustees, our school staffs in that selection. However, I do know that they begin next week, and I'm sure that there'll be more invitations to come with regard to trustee involvement. So we look forward to hearing about the recipients of all of those scholarships. Then I'd like to move on to, if I could, to 8.1.7. In your package, you will have received the school fees and the schedule, which is attached. This is the annual event where each year trustees, they may charge fees, which is in accordance with the School Act. And of course, at this juncture, we're looking at the fact that we have had a few changes in some of these fees. So in the package, you'll take note that the rock climbing fee, there was a decrease from $175 to $100 for next school year. And that was a request by the schools that are involved. So I think that's good news, gives an opportunity for students to participate in rock climbing. And in addition to that, thank you, Secretary Treasurer. In addition to that, we also have our new Rugby Academy. And so those fees are also outlined in there. Thank you very much. And also there has been no change fees with regard to our Hockey Academy. And then also later on in our agenda, you'll see that we have a proposal around our Dance Academy. And so at that time, we might be looking for approval of those Dance Academy fees. And so that's a bit of an overview of that particular section. And I do know that would be in our action list for later on for the board's consideration.
Trustee Croft?
Do we have an official policy or procedure around no child will not be able to participate or have all the equipment due to financial barrier?
There is always a hardship fund, and you'll see at the very bottom of this fee schedule, it speaks of that where there is financial hardship that exists that would prevent a student participation in one of these activities, fees will be waived. And so that would be the responsibility of each one of those principals who lead these particular programs. And so we would never want it to be a barrier for participation of any of these students.
Can I follow up?
Yes, please.
So I'm speaking generally here. It's my understanding of people that, spend a long time feeling marginalized or, at a different economic level than everybody else, that they may not follow up on those kinds of things, and therefore outreach becomes very important. So I just like to ask that, do we have that kind of outreach or processes in place just so we don't miss anybody?
Superintendent?
Sorry, thank you very much. I would say that it's probably not as formalized as perhaps, where it's outlined as a process, but I think overall when it comes to teachers in these programs or counselors who are able to support that endeavor, it's one of those things that you're always being careful about balancing the stigmatization of students and their needs with regard to engagement in these programs. And so I do know that when it comes to principals and counselors, they do their diligence with regard to how do they engage some of those students to participate in those programs that they may not otherwise have that opportunity to do so. So not as formal as perhaps we would maybe like to see, but overall keeping confidentiality and moving through those processes that are very school driven.
One more quick follow-up.
Okay, quick. And
So
then-
yeah, so when you say is we would like to see, I don't know, maybe I can make it a yes or no, so it's fast. Are we looking into ways that we'd like to have processes that we'd like to see? Like, are we working on room for improvement?
I think that when we come out of a COVID year such as this, that there's always ways to improve that. And we are very cognizant of the fact that there are some financial hardships out there for a lot of families. And as much as it maybe was deep before, it's even deeper now. And so, you know, I know it's up to school-based staff and counselors to know children. And, you know, I think that there's always ways to improve. And so we can certainly look to speak with our principals to how do we improve those processes so that we don't lose kids, so they don't fall through the gap, so that they have those opportunities that every student has.
Thank you very much. And thank you, Madam Chair, for the added time.
Good questions. Thank you, Trustee Croft. Trustee Kemmler and then Trustee Doman.
I have a question. The smaller amounts, the rock climbing, field hockey, ice hockey, and soccer that are not academies, what are those fees? I mean, rock climbing I sort of understand, but field hockey and soccer, is that different than after school sports? Is it a PE program? Like, why would we have fees for those?
Well, those are opportunities for all kids. They do cost a little bit more money than regular school fees. And I think the difference would be that the superintendent approves that through the procedures that are available to myself. But then when it comes to those other fees, it would be up to the board to approve with regard to the academies. I couldn't tell you exactly, but it would be probably some support on the field, whether it be referees, whether it be some of those items that maybe some of the students would require in each one of those sporting areas. I can certainly follow up a little bit more if there's more detail that's required. But I think when you look at all of those field hockey, ice hockey, soccer, you're certainly looking at officials. You're looking at some of the supplies that are needed to run those programs. Just added opportunities for our learners out there at the secondary level.
Okay, secondary. That also clears it up a bit. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Doman. You need to turn on your volume.
There we go. First of all, I'd like to make a response to Trustee Croft. I know being associated with the Basketball Association, Kids Sport has a ton of money, but the hardest thing that the biggest challenge they run into is they can't give it out because the people who really need that don't know how to access it. And that's an ongoing challenge with all of us. So my question is, these value-added PE courses, I mean, I can understand the high fee for ice hockey because ice time is very expensive, but soccer, field hockey, I mean, I question those. And even, you know, is basketball in there? Because basketball officials are quite expensive too.
Pass those questions back to the superintendent.
Certainly, I can certainly respond a bit more. I think that when you look at the traditional aspects of some of the competitive sport, such as basketball, they are very competitive in nature. These programs are open to all. And I think that when we look at the curricular programs, which these would be curricular in nature, but then you look at the extracurricular programs such as basketball, volleyball, all those other sporting events. This is why these would be added value, an opportunity for some of those grade 11 and 12 PE course takers to have the opportunity to focus in on a sport that might be a passion for them and a love of theirs, which is quite different than the extracurricular activities. So I couldn't break it down for you, Trustee Doman, but I could certainly look into it a little bit further at another time so that we could really look at that fee structure that each school would actually put together with regard to that.
Thank you. I believe we need a motion to approve. Is that correct?
That is correct.
That's right. Moved by Trustee Croft, seconded by Trustee DeGroot. Conversation on the motion. Trustee Hutchins?
Yeah, are all these programs, other the PE classes or value-added PE classes or the academies, are they fully subscribed?
Yes, they are.
Yeah.
Yes,
Wow.
they are. Just an update with regard to the Rugby Academy that was just approved a few months ago. I do know that we're already over 30 participants in that particular academy.
Thank you. Are there further comments on the motion? Okay, motion to approve. I'll call the question. All those in favor? Motion carries. Okay, back to you, Superintendent.
All right, thank you. I'm just going to go to 8.1.8, my update. And so I have a number of things to share with the board. Firstly, I would like to acknowledge and maybe correct something that I made comment to on a last board meeting with regard to our rainbow crosswalks. So firstly, I'd like to apologize that I think I gave some credit to inclusive education, and I needed to share with the board that what I understand from his history here, that the rainbow crosswalks were certainly advocated by our students, by many of our staff, with some CVTU support as well as some BCTF support. And so that's a little bit of history that I wasn't aware of, and I wanted to certainly correct that in our highlighter so that everyone was aware of the fact that this was driven by our students and our staff with regard to certainly providing those safe spaces, and certainly the rainbow crosswalk symbolizing what's important around diversity, inclusion, and of course, specifically, I think as a board chair made comment to in providing a safe place for all of our LGBTQ plus 2+ students and staff out there. So I'd like to acknowledge that. I'd also like to point out that on May the 17th, there is an International Day Against Homophobia, Transphobia, and Biphobia. And it's a time where we will be celebrating, it's a worldwide celebration of sexual and gender diversities. So if you can put that on your calendar on May the 17th. I'd like to also let the board know that as of last week, all secondary schools have started Q4. So these are the two major high schools who have actually broken their their learning system into quarters. And so Francis Kelsey and Cowichan Secondary would be in their final quarter, where some of the students will be taking, or the majority of students in those schools will be taking their last 2 courses of their school year. And then moving along, we have a number of district assessments with regard to student learning. And so I've already previously shared with the board that we'll be looking at how do we collect some of that student data. And so underway this spring, we will be looking at the K-3 early success screen. We will also be looking at the grade 1 through grade 8 district-wide right, and also as well as the DART for grades 4 and 9. So that collection of data of course, is intended to help support learning as students move forward in their learning, and to provide opportunity for all of the educators to be informed of where they would like to take learning for all of those learners. So that's happening this May. On April the 19th, we had a non-instructional day, and we had our keynote from Shelley Moore around the topic, moving towards equity inclusion. I think it was a hit. If any of you have ever had the opportunity to see Shelley Moore, you will always be engaged and entertained. If not, and certainly there's always new learning to be had from Shelley. And I do want to make a comment that we were lucky to have her, because we were worried that she was going to have their baby, but we found out today that she had her baby today. And so we had to congratulate her and acknowledge the fact that she had a lovely baby girl this morning. And then I think I want to talk about the Young Authors Conference that is happening earlier today. And for your reading pleasure, I'm going to let all of you know, here is the document that is bound for all of us to be able to look at the submissions. So for any board member who would like to come in, this is here and available for you. And so approximately 100 students in the district from grades 5 to 12, representing 23 schools, including our DLVC, you just saw that video, attended a Zoom session with one of 8 published authors. And so here you go. And it's a very exciting event. And I think that this is something that occurs every year in the school district. And they were able to continue with this event even during this particular time. At any time, please stop me if I go too fast. The next thing that's going on in the district, so there's a lot going on, is our Ready, Set, Learn and Ready, Set, Go program. Of course, the Ready, Set, Learn is a community-based program, and these events will be held in May at various park locations throughout the Cowichan Valley, and of course will be facilitated by all of our Strong Start educators. Advertising for these events will be going out very soon. And we also have our Ready, Set, Go events, and these are school-based events, and they're hosted by our elementary schools and our kindergarten teachers this month. And based on the positive feedback from the format used last year, the planning team has designed a story walk for this year's events. That's when we welcome our young learners to our K program. So it's always an exciting time as our parents and our learners come to our schools. This is an exciting event. We have the Duncan Street Sign Project. Some of you might have heard about this at our government to government meeting, but recently the Downtown Duncan Business Improvement Association, the City of Duncan, and Cowichan Tribes partnered to name several of the streets downtown with their Hulkaminam names. Our very own teacher, Kelly Gurvan from Alexander Elementary, saw an opportunity to involve our students and staff in this endeavor. Although the street signs were installed, there was no guidance on pronunciation. And we know those things are very challenging for some of us. And that's where Kelly has come in, and she's partnered with culture and language teacher Claudia Sylvester, and the pair selected 7 Hulkaminam speaking students to voice the 7 street names and create a community resource. That resource will now be found on street sign cards, which will be available on our Indigenous Education website. And of course, there are also handouts in the Downtown Duncan Business Improvement Association, and they will be sending that out to all businesses. So that's very exciting times for Cowichan Valley and our student involvement. Moving on to busing, our transportation manager, Selena, I think we all know her, is working with Dolly and Charlie to develop a welcome sign for our new bus that is starting to service the Malahat Nation. And so right now, I squel, I quanasil, I lamnama, good day, it is good to see you, will now hang inside the bus, warmly welcoming students on. Selena is looking to further develop this program for other buses and other routes as part of how the Transportation Department can bring elements of the strategic plan to life. Kind of exciting. And then at Francis Kelsey, we have 3 square benches that have been constructed and installed in front of Francis Kelsey Secondary. And there's a thanks to Mr. Pimenta's grade 10, 11, and 12 shop classes for building them, and Mr. Hart for winning the grant. So students can now enjoy this new outdoor seating. So if you go to Francis Kelsey, you'll be able to see their new outdoor seating areas. And then coming up on May 13th, we have our last Ignite Sounds Bite. And it will be another virtual learning session this year. And so watch for the posters that will be coming up very soon with regard to the learning that will be available for our community. And then on April 7th and 8th, we had our Indigenous Educational Virtual Provincial Gathering. It was a 2-day event, and we had a number of staff members who were in attendance. Moving along, we also just had our BC Superintendent's Virtual Spring Forum on April the 22nd, and we had a school district team participate in the virtual forum, Imagining Schools as Places of Healing Through Truth and Reconciliation, and that was hosted by Kevin Lamoureux, and he will be the one facilitating our district ad hoc anti-racism committee. So we look forward to having him. And then I think lastly, I just wanted to share that we have our Indigenous Outcomes team. They will be arriving, meeting with district staff, and that meeting is scheduled for May the 12th. So that's a bit of my report. You can see that there are many, many things going on in the school district. And I'm hopeful that next month I'll have a little bit of a slideshow for all of you so that you can see some of these great things that are occurring. But now when you go down to downtown Duncan, when you see some of those signs that are put in Hulkaminam, you'll be able to know that our students and our staff have been very helpful in creating that partnership. And if there aren't any questions, I will move on to action items.
I'd just like to comment on our behalf that this is a happening district. And I want to thank our superintendent and our secretary treasurer here, but thank everyone that is part of our staff. It's just an amazing team that is producing wonderful initiatives and wonderful programs for our kids in our community. I'd also just like to say that it's been really, it's made me proud to know that our Indigenous language, it has been promoted throughout our community. The website that has all of the Hulkaminam names and pronunciations has been referenced at the government to government meeting, has been referenced in the newspaper. So we are seen as leaders who are responsive to the importance of Hulkaminam, and I think that that's a wonderful recognition that we've received, and that's thanks to staff again. So you may carry on. Sorry, just a
No,
comment.
that's great. Thank you very much. And I'll extend that to all of our staff. They're movers and shakers out there. They're transforming our community for certain. I now, and that's a beautiful segue, if I could, we've accomplished 8.2.1, I believe, on our agenda. And so thank you for that. And what I'd like to do is move to 8.2.2. And I would like to, if I may, invite our Director of Instruction, Mr. Matten, to come and share a little bit of the Open Learning Dance Academy proposal. Again, another opportunity for our learners. And so if I could invite him just briefly to share. In brief, Mr. Matten, in brief.
Matt is coming in. I'm just not clear on 8.2.1. Are we to pass that motion or?
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought it had already been accomplished, but maybe I was in error. And so because I think there's two parts to the fees, and one part would be that the board reviews what the superintendent is presenting, but then there's the second part, which is with regard to the academy. And so you can see here on 8.2.1 that the Board of Education approves the Specialty Academy 2021-2022 activity fees of $1,325 for the Francis Kelsey Secondary School Specialty Hockey Academy. So those fees have not changed. And so that's very specific to the academy fees.
Okay, could I have a mover for the motion then? Moved by Trustee DeGroot, seconded by Trustee Kemmler. Any conversation on the motion? All those in favor? Motion carries. Okay, moving to 8.2.2. Back to you, Superintendent and Mr. Matten.
Thank you. Mr. Matten, are you ready to share?
You bet. I wanant mokwait iquanasilam nala. Good evening, everyone. It's good to see you all today. Itzap Uthathi Tanakwel. How are you all doing? Good night. Sun shining. It's a beautiful day. You get to hear from me again. Hey, Rob. I'll start off by saying Tihum E Nuilam Tap. Please come in and join me in a conversation about an exciting opportunity that I want to share to you today for our Hachas Manam. Tihum Tap Ihuyanen. Please all listen. It's been a great session today. Listen to all the exciting things that's happening in the Cowichan Valley right now. And you're right, Candace, happening district. And I'm here to talk about yet one more exciting thing that we want to try to kick off for next year. I want to talk to you today about a dance academy. And we have been in some conversations with some exciting people who are really keen to expand something that we've started loosely over this last year in a partnership with one of our local dance academies. So without further ado, here we go. This is going to be a pretty exciting opportunity for kids who are grades 8 to 12 to dive into the world of dance. Many kids are participating in different dance programs around our community in the south end and in the central zone here. They already do this. Many of them have been doing this for years, and they've been doing this while participating with our DL program, because DL program was the only one that would fit for their schedules. Because the way the dance programs work, you are often leaving town to go to do travel around Canada, even around, you know, the world or the continent, to do presentations, to do exciting performances, to meet with other people. Fitting that within a regular school system is a bit of a challenge. So out of our Adage Dance Studio, we got an opportunity to partner and expand on this partnership that we've got through DL and build a dance academy. In your package, I've provided you with a program flyer, which gives you some more information about the program, as well as a full proposal that gets into a bunch of specifics about the individual pieces that go with the program, including courses and a number of things that I'll touch on a little bit later. We've already got the approval of the PAC. The PAC had a meeting from our Open Learning PAC, had a meeting and did approve the concept of a dance academy and the associated fees. That's in your package as well for your reference. But the really exciting part for me is this partnership with Adage Dance Studio. They've got some really exciting people at their studio there that are gearing up and ready to expand on what we've somewhat been providing to our students, but bridging it to more than just us doing the academics, but also us supporting some of those dance related courses, the academic pieces of those courses, moving into a true academy where the kids are attending either dance or school all day long, 9 until 3. Emily and Olivia are the two owners of the program at Adage, and they are super excited and thrilled about this opportunity of expanding this partnership into a dance academy. So what is the academy? The academy is basically, it's going to end up being a full-time program where the students will be attending either dance or academics all day. With the flexibility, that's the key with this program above what we can offer in a bricks and mortar school. It's going to have the flexibility where if they need to, they can pick up and leave on a Wednesday night to go to Calgary for a performance, or go to Vancouver for a performance, or liaise with other dance academies or dance programs around the province and around the nation. With academies, they have to participate in a minimum of 2 academy-related courses. This one, they're going to actually get 4 courses a year, 2 courses per semester. And I've listed a number of the different courses that they're going to be getting as they participate in this program. Now, a lot of these kind of the instruction and dance, the choreography, the performance, the technique pieces, those are going to come from the professional instructors, whereas, all of the core academics will be accommodated through the teacher. And then kind of the middle ground, like the pieces of the PE 10 to 12 that don't fit within what they're going to be learning through dance, that they get credit through dance, that will be accommodated through the teacher as well. This is all overseen by one of our school district teachers. I've said before, it will be a grade 8 to 12 program to start. There may be a potential to expand this. I know that some other districts have performing arts and programs that start as young as like grade 4. So there may be a potential to expand this moving forward. There will be some fees associated with this, and these fees directly align with the fees that the kids that are currently in the DL partnership program, they're already paying $315 a month or $3,150 a year. They, in my conversations with the owners, they have indicated that they do have access to funds for hardship. For kids who can't afford and really want to participate, they get grants and donations that they can tap into for that. What I'm proposing here today is kind of stage 1 of a multi-stage offering that I'd like to share. Stage one is going to be tapping into these kids who are already in the program. They've already got in this DL partnership. There may be room for a few more kids moving into next year. However, beyond next year, we're already starting conversations about how can we expand this out beyond just dance and to performing arts. They've got some brilliant instructors. You go to their website, it's multi-pages long of all the instructors they got, from voice coaches to acting coaches to drama to dance to jazz, oh, you name it. So there's tons of potential to expand this beyond just kids who are in the dance, to open it up to all kids who have a keen interest in the performing arts. And then I'm hopeful that heading into next year, 2022, should we want to move forward with this 2022, we could open this up to maybe, you know, the professional dancers who are interested in going to performances all over Canada and North America, to kids who just want to dive into this world and give it a go and see what it's all about. So there, you know, maybe some different price points for that. When you go on their website, you can actually see some videos, you see some pictures. They've got a ton of stuff to kind of take a look at the cool opportunities they've got. I got a chance to see a really cool video that had even some students that actually I know through family members and stuff and friends, and the excitement on their face when they get to do something they're passionate about. I'm actually reminded, Sir Ken Robinson, he does this great TED Talk, if you ever get a chance to look at it. We presented it when we stumbled through the beginning of our NI day with Shelley Moore. And he talks about some of those kids that are just lost in regular. They just don't fit in a traditional bricks and mortar school. But boy, they've got energy and passions. This is one of those areas where a kid's passion can really drive them forward, keep them connected with school and then beyond. You know, a lot of these kids are going to bridge to something beyond this dance academy, and that's quite exciting for me. So I'll just open it up to the floor for any questions about this dance academy.
Could we have the full screen so I could see everyone? That would be good. Thank you. So questions or comments from trustees? Trustee Hutchins?
Yeah, Larry, thank you for this incredible opportunity for our kids. What are the districts that have created such a partnership with a private society or business like this in terms of, well, a partnership working together between the district and a business? I think it's fabulous.
What other districts have?
Yeah, are we leading the way, or are we?
I wouldn't say we're leading the way. There are other districts that do this, some officially, like in a dance academy that I just presented. Others kind of that unofficial partnership that I referenced, where, you know, like our DL De Grove partnership with Adage. There is actually a Mill Bay dance group that has a partnership with a DL program outside of our district. I'm hoping we can try to recover those students, but yeah, there are other districts that already do this. I wouldn't say it's happening in all districts. I don't actually know the number of how many though, Rob, but we've gotten some of our courses from those districts.
Thanks, Larry.
Yeah.
Are there other questions from trustees? Then if someone could move the motion to approve the establishment of the dance. I guess I don't need to read the whole thing. Moved by Trustee DeGroot, seconded by Trustee Hutchins. Any conversation or debate? Okay. All those in favor? Motion carries unanimously. Thank you very much, Mr. Matten, and to the staff for have worked all of this out, and of course to Adage as well. Appreciate their support for increasing opportunities for learning for our kids. Thank you. Back to you, Superintendent.
Okay, thank you. Just one more, 8.2.3. We have a number of board authorized courses that I would like to present. So you'll see that there are 11 courses that staff have been looking forward to presenting. So you're going to see there's Athletic Leadership 10, 11, and 12. And these courses provide an opportunity for like-minded students to explore their interest in the various aspects of athletics together. It's designed as a course to allow travel to many activities in and around the community. And of course, this grouping of courses are related to our Rugby Academy. The second group of courses, Principles of Sport 10, 11, and 12, again, also related to our Rugby Academy. They are a sports-specific program that's designed to develop student athletes on a continuous year-long basis. So you can see that students who are part of the Rugby Academy, that they are involved in a number of courses that relate to their sport, relate to leadership, but also relate to their fitness and conditioning of their overall athletic ability. So that would be the first 6 courses here. We also have Lake Ambassador 11. This program runs from January through June in the Cowichan Lake area. The purpose is to allow students to build their public speaking skills along with preparing them to be positive representatives for their community. It was submitted by, of course, Lake Cowichan School. We also have the Assisted Technology 11 course. It's to provide students with visual impairments with skills they need to independently support their learning using assistive technology. So that's Assistive Technology 11. And then moving on to Post-Secondary Preparation 12. This is designed to familiarize grade 12 students with post-secondary opportunities and to prepare them to make the most of these opportunities that are made available to them. And then lastly, Library Studies 11. This is to give students hands-on experience in the services and management of a library while providing a broader set of skills and competencies applicable in high school settings, businesses, and other professional environments. And so you can see we have a long list for the board to consider. And I do want to make a comment that each school works very closely with our Director of Instruction around making sure that these courses meet the standards set out by the Ministry of Education. They are also then brought to our Educational Strategic Committee, and that involves a number of district principals and our associate superintendents prior to it coming to the board to ensure that they have the standards that are set out. And so I present you with all of these courses for your consideration. And so there is some board action there to consider, that the board approves the following BAA courses for implementation in September 2021.
Is there a mover for the motion? Moved by Trustee Thorne, seconded by Trustee DeGroot. Any conversation on the motion? Trustee Doman?
I'd just like to make a comment. It's one of the first times I've heard business mentioned in some of these courses. So congratulations to the people up at Lake Cowichan for doing that.
Thank you. Any further comments on the motion? All those in favor? Motion carries unanimously. Thank you. Thank you for your report, Superintendent. Moving to item 9, Secretary Treasurer. Mr. Zanko.
Thank you. Thank you. I have action items this evening, but I just wanted to start by saying how great those presentations were from the board chair and superintendent sections. And I can't wait for Mike Russell to create a budget video that he can showcase the finance department and all that we do to get here. So I do have a bit of a preamble. I am pleased to present a balanced budget for board consideration today. In your package, you'll find a guided tour of the 2021-2022 annual budget, and that's a document we prepare to help explain the changes from year to year. In total, the board met I think there were 14 separate meetings that the board had on the budget, and I want to thank you for that commitment to the budget process. It was shaped using the 2021-2022 budget guiding principles, as well as the 4 strategic priorities. There were multiple points for input through the survey and through the various partner groups. So I would also like to thank the public that participated in the survey, DSAC, DPAC, the USW, CUPE, CVTF, PVPA, well, CVPVPA, and the district staff who all participated and provided input. And then finally, I'd like to thank Karen Blow, Assistant Secretary Treasury. You don't see her on the Zooms when I'm on here, but she's in the background. This is her last budget with the school district prior to retirement. So I know she's probably celebrating that a little bit. You know, we've been through 6 budgets, full budgets and 6 amended budgets together. So I'm going to miss her contributions to the process. And I just wanted to thank her. She's on this meeting as well, so she's hearing these words, and thank her for all her work on the budget that you don't actually get to see because you get to see me. So
Well, we want to thank both of you and all the other financial staff for sure. Thank you.
So there are motions here to adopt the budget. It has been recommended from the Board Education and Business Committee. And the first motion is the one that isn't debatable, and it's here for somebody to move and second.
So a motion to move the first reading of the budget, Trustee Doman, and seconded by Trustee DeGroot. All those in favor? Motion carries. Moving to the second reading of the budget. Motion to do that, please. Moved by Trustee Thorne, seconded by Trustee Doman. Is there any conversation, debate on the motion? All those in favor? Motion carries. Moving to that we consider 3 readings of the board motion around the budget at this meeting. Moved by Trustee DeGroot, seconded by Trustee Doman. All those in favor? Motion carries. And moving to the third and final reading for the annual budget. A motion to do that, moved by Trustee Doman, seconded by Trustee Hutchins. All those in favor? Motion carries. So thank you, Mr. Sandquist and other staff, that you can breathe a sigh of relief. It is done, because that's certainly what I am doing right now. Congratulations to the board. We have passed our budget for next year. Back to you, Mr. Sandquist.
Yes, thank you. The next item, I'm going to invite the Director of Operations, Richard Dybel, into the meeting. So we're just going to promote him, and he's going to present the annual facilities grant plan for the next school year. We don't have to do the budget bylaw, or sorry, not the budget bylaw, the capital bylaw yet, as that's coming at a later date, likely in June, with the final announcement on our capital funds. So Richard's here, and I will share the screen and bring up the document that he's going to share.
Welcome, Richard.
Thank you. Thank you. It's been a good session. Lots of good videos. I agree with Jason. My AFG plan is not very exciting compared to everything else that's gone on. So I will do my best to navigate you through this. When Jason brings this up, I'm going to just kind of speak to just a few quick highlights of the AFG plan as we go through. This is actually an effort from our new capital coordinator, Chris Baker, as well as our project technologist, Glenn Callahoo. So they put a lot of effort into this year, and so we're excited to present it to you today. The first one that I will highlight in this plan is going to be Alexander Elementary, the window replacement. We had an ongoing building envelope project there that got stalled, and so we are happy to announce that we are going to be finishing that this summer. So Alexander will have their full BE completed. If we scroll down a little bit, Jason, the next project that we've already spoken to was the Bench Elementary inclusive washroom upgrade. So we've got $175,000 allocated to that project, and that is an exciting project for us to tackle, the first one in our district. Moving on, we've got the exterior painting at Coheman. I'm not sure if any of you had the opportunity to visit Coheman lately, but we've got a $40,000 budget right at Jason's cursor there for exterior painting. That Coheman, the painting is just getting it's in dire need of refreshment. So we took a tour there and decided that's a fantastic candidate for a summer project this year. So that one, it will be tendered and getting completed throughout the summer as well. in order to accommodate Paulson's potential future growth, as well as aligning with our new daycare installation, on our capital plan, you'll see that we have two. Oh, I actually jumped ahead. I'll speak to that one. I'll get you to back up in a minute, Jason, sorry. But Paulson, we're actually going to move the portables. We've got two portables currently on site that aren't situated very well. So we're gonna relocate those portables slightly in the same area, but just move them around. So that way, if any future growth, we can actually bring in a third portable to that site, but it will allow us to be able to do so even with the new daycare in place. Currently, the way they're situated, we wouldn't be able to accommodate that. So that project is also going to be happening hopefully through the summer, so to minimize disruptions on the students. I would just like to go to Mill Bay Nature School right there, Jason. We are actually going to be completing, we're in the final phase of the completion of the recommissioning of Mill Bay Nature School. So we are going to be completed the cladding, as well as all the second story classrooms. That'll be available for the future growth of that program. So we're really excited to be finishing that up and moving on from that school onto other projects as well. I know we spoke of climate action earlier, so I'd just like to speak to two quick projects that we have ongoing for climate action, which is the completion of our boiler replacement for SBO and Quamachin. So we've got right above that one there, Jason, we've also got the Quamachin School for $175,000. That's going to be going ahead in a combination project. We're contributing 175 of AFG, but we also have approximately 560,000 that is coming forward through CNCP funds. That'll be getting provided to the district later in the year. So that's a pretty big boiler upgrade project for Quamachin, and a great project over here or over there at SBO as well. As far as our repainting of the SBO, that's going to continue this summer as well, which is exciting because that will also slot in really well with the continuation of rebranding. So we'll get the frontages of all the school board office completed and repainted in preparation for new signage and logo and such. And the last one, it's been a little bit of a contentious one over the years. We had it planned and then the engineer seemed to just vanish, but it's the Thetis Island water treatment system. Island Health, we've been working with Island Health for several years now on this. And so we have worked out a plan and that one's going to be completed this year as well, for a total AFG spend of $1.887945. Any questions?
Trustee Hutchins?
Just a question of curiosity, Richard, you may not have the answer. When was the last time the school board office was painted?
No.
I actually don't have the answer to that. Well before my time.
Yeah, and before my time, and that's over 20 years.
Yeah,
So,
at least.
Yeah. So thank you for the question. Any other questions or comments from trustees? I'd just say, Richard, that it is an exciting presentation. That these are areas of our school district that need attention, and I'm really pleased to see some of them. Some of them are old concerns from a long time ago. So it's great to see them on a schedule to be attended to. Trustee Doman, did you have something you wanted to say? Nope. So thank you so much, and thank Chris and Glenn for their report with you and all the people that were involved. I know the staffs at our schools would have been part of identification of what needed work. And so it's good that that has come together in a plan. We appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Trustee Kemmler?
A quick comment. I really like seeing the parking lot evaluations. If you've ever spent any time in a parking lot of a school, I still do grandchildren pickup and of course spent many years in parking lots of schools. I'm glad to see we're still evaluating and trying to figure out how to make them work. But one day we will, I know.
It's actually, parking lots are actually a real struggle for us. Parent drop off and pick up. We try to accommodate the best we can, but it's something that isn't typically funded through the ministry. So it's a real push-pull struggle for us. And thank goodness we've got fantastic administration and teachers that try to navigate that and accommodating parents as well at times.
Mhm. Well,
It
thank
is interesting.
Thank you again. And I'd like to know if someone would like to move the suggested motion that we approve the annual facilities grant plan. Moved by trustee Croft, seconded by trustee Thorne. Any conversation? All those in favor? Passed unanimously. Thank you again, Richard. Okay, moving to item 10, committees and outside organizations. The first is the minutes of the February 18, 2021 DPAC meeting. Trustee Doman? Oh, you have to put your mic on.
I'd like to make a motion that the board accept the minutes of the DPAC meeting.
Thank you. Moved by trustee Doman, seconded by trustee Thorne. All those in favor? Motion carries. Moving to item B, trustee Thorne. Highlights of the April 8th DSAC meeting. Motion to receive the highlights. You have to put your mic.
I just found I found my mute button. Thank you. I'd like to move that we accept minutes for the DSAC meeting for the month.
Thank you. Moved by trustee Thorne, seconded by trustee DeGroot. All those in favor? Motion carries. Moving to minutes of the April 9th, 2021 Early Learning and Childcare Committee. Trustee DeGroot.
The board receives the minutes of the April 9 Early Learning Childcare Committee meeting.
Moved by trustee DeGroot, seconded by trustee Kemmler. All those in favor? Motion carries. Moving to item D, minutes of the April 13th, 2021 special BEBC meeting. Trustee Hutchins.
Thank you, Madam Chair. That the Board of Education of School District number 79 received the minutes of the April 13th, 2021 special BEBC meeting.
Thank you. Moved by trustee Hutchins, seconded by trustee Kemmler. All those in favor? Motion carries. Moving to item E, which is highlights of the April 14th, 2021 ad hoc COVID transition committee meeting. Trustee Kemmler.
I'd like to request that the board accept the minutes from the COVID meeting, please.
Moved by trustee Kemmler, seconded by trustee Thorne. All those in favor? Motion carries. Moving to item F, summary of the April 15th, 2021 Provincial Council meeting. Trustee DeGroot.
Oh, yeah. Am I on? Yes. The meeting was all about passing budgets and who is the auditor. So I didn't make a report for you that way. It was finished in about 10 minutes. It was really not a lot of meeting. And so I would like to have you receive that information. I didn't, as I say, I didn't bother to write up a whole report because there wasn't anything to report on. Thanks.
Thank you, trustee DeGroot. Moving to item G, the summary of April 20th, 21 Advisory Committee meeting. Trustee Croft.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd like to move that the Board of Education, District 79, receives a summary of the April 20th, 2021 Advisory Committee meeting.
Thank you. Moved by trustee Croft, seconded by trustee DeGroot. All those in favor? Motion carries. Moving to item H, minutes of the April 22nd, 2021 special BEBC meeting. Trustee Hutchins.
Yes, I'd like to move that the Board of Education receives the minutes of the April 22nd, 2021 special BEBC meeting.
Moved by trustee Hutchins, seconded by trustee Kemmler. All those in favor? Motion carries. Trustee Hutchins, would you like to address the motion that came from the meeting?
Yes, I'd like to move that the Board of Education and Business Committee recommends to the board that a letter be sent to the Ministry of Education regarding fully funding labor settlements. So moved.
Moved by trustee Hutchins, seconded by trustee Croft. Any conversation? All those in favor? Motion carries. Moving to minutes of the April 27th, 2021 BEBC meeting. Trustee Hutchins,
Yes, so move that the Board of Education receive the minutes of the April 27th, 2021 BEBC meeting.
moved by Trustee Hutchins, seconded by Trustee Kemmler. All those in favor? Motion carries. Moving to item J, which is the BCSTA AGM, and Mr. Sandquist is putting up the report, which is basically that there were, that the AGM was held April 15th to 17th, 2021 via Zoom. 48 motions were debated, and there were two main speakers. There was approximately 400 trustees, superintendents, and secretary treasurers in attendance. The speakers were Carol James, former BCSTA president and minister of finance, and Andy Hargraves, educational consultant. All of the motions are recorded, and videos of the speakers are available on the BCSTA hub. Any questions on the report? Thank you. Moving to Vista AGM, Trustee Kemmler.
Our Vista AGM was on the 17th during our BCSTA. We hadn't had one the year before because of COVID. There was some elections. The minutes are there and the minutes have gone to the trustees. I just wanted to highlight that we'd had a couple changes this year. So our CEO, Mike Roberts, is retiring. We had a good working relationship with this person, and our association is stronger because of his leadership. And we as a body say thank you and congratulations. And closer to home, our own trustee Spilsbury has stepped down from being our Vista president. And it's always with a lot of pride that we have someone from our district step up into such a leadership role. And Trustee Spilsbury has been really an active participant and very involved and shared so well with us. We're going to miss her in that role. Her being on the monthly Zoom calls that they took on during COVID was an amazing thing, Candace. It was great. And you brought back all that information to us, and we were pleased and privileged to have you in that role. You will be missed. You'll definitely be missed. And with my fingers crossed, I'm hoping that our world will change enough, because we have the Fall Vista Conference will be in Port Hardy on October 1st and 2nd, and our Fall Academy is scheduled in December for Vancouver. So the minutes are there. If you have any questions, just please ask, and thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Candace.
Well, thank you. And you don't get to get rid of me. I am the past president.
That's good. Yes, you'll still share lots, I'm sure.
Thank you. Okay, moving to upcoming meetings and events. If you would just put that up, Mr. Sandquist. And I don't know if there's anything that anyone wants to draw our attention to. Seeing no input, we can move on then. We have no items of correspondence, no items of new business, so we're moving to question period. And Mr. Sandquist, if you could flag for me, that would be good.
So watch in the chat and in the questions and answer section to see if anybody puts something in.
Okay,
so far, there's no questions, but just give it a moment.
Well, it is after 6 o'clock, so maybe people are anxious to go home.
I think that nobody is going to ask a question.
Okay, thank you. So moving to adjournment, if someone would make a motion, Trustee Doman, and seconded by Trustee DeGroot. All those in favor? Thank you, everyone. Full meeting of great education. Thank you to our staff.
Thank you.